sitaweka sahihi ile report.
On her part, the NAK Kenya party leader has also seemingly faulted the report. On her social media page, Karua says any purported agreement that does not immediately impact on cost of living, electoral justice, and respect for multi-party democracy is a fraud on the people and must be rejected. Jeff Kirui, KTN News.
And over 20 people have been reported dead in Makueni County as heavy rains continue to wreak havoc in various parts of the country. On Sunday, 5 people were reported dead, including a pastor of the AAC church and Kilome MP 30 years Kidua Nzambia's brother. Makueni residents decry lack of bridge. Interior PS Raymond Omolo has asked Kenyans to move to safer grounds. Winfrey has more.
Residents of Makueni County are counting more and more losses, including deaths caused by floods. On Sunday, 5 people were reported dead as a result of the rains.
Natoka Sultan na baba mahindi. Kwa nimefika sijui gani nitafika huku mahali naenda. Sasa hii mtu sijui tutafanya aje ndio.
Tunateseka ni kama tuko nje ya Kenya. Viongozi wetu kura tulipiga. Sasa tutafanyaje? Hii ni mateso tunatezekea hapa. Tunaweza hata jana kuliingia watu wengine hapa ndani na wakaokolewa.
Wengine wanakuwa wazito kiasi ya kwamba ni lazima mshike, na ukimshika mkono anaweza ponyoka. Kwa hivyo serikali tunaomba usaidizi. Ile nyingine ni chakula tunatoa pande ya Kavudhu. Kupitia njia yote ile ni Kavudhu. Kwa hivyo serikali tunaomba usaidizi. Na tunalia, tumekuwa tukilia kwa muda mrefu. Kwa hivyo tunaomba serikali msaidie.
Of the 5, 4 bodies have been retrieved and taken to different morgues. Among those who died are Mwina Nzambia, a brother to Kilome Member of Parliament, Thaddeus Nzambia. In Kilungu, a 16-year-old girl who just got her results last week also died after the house she was sleeping in collapsed due to mudslide.
Maji yametushinda kabisa na ninataka kuvuka nimeshindwa. Nilikuwa nafanya kazi hapa Kabodo, sasa nimeacha kazi nataka kwenda kulima huko nyumbani. Mtiambua siwezi vuka, maji ni mengi.
At Kalamba area, a priest of the AIC church and one other person lost their lives while trying to cross a river. The clergyman's body was retrieved while the search and recovery of the other body is still underway. Another body was also found in a nearby dam. Reports indicate deaths in Makueni County have crossed 20 marks so far. Majority of the victims have reportedly died while crossing River Muoni in Kavotho. Residents say the lack of a bridge in the river is not helping, as county safety officials urge residents to avoid crossing the river when the water rises. However, Interior PS Raymond Omolo has urged Kenyans to move to safer grounds and urged county governments to collaborate with the national government in ensuring the safety of Kenyans.
We are experiencing more than average rainfall, what we are calling the El Nino phenomena. And a lot of our people are in distress. As we do that work, we want to appeal to Kenyans, particularly those who live in the lowlands, that you listen to our government officers. You listen to the instructions so that we move to safer ground.
Meanwhile, the bodies of 3 Mombasa County officials who died while unclogging a drainage at Makupa roundabout have been retrieved.
So this whole stretch will have to be cut off. We have notified, I've asked the team to make sure that they work with Kenha, because they're the ones who had done this road. We'll be left with no choice, but we have to cut open this particular road to avoid a mishap like this again.
Governor Abdul Swamad has pledged to oversee the renovation of drainage systems to ensure free flow of rainwater during this season. Winfrey Owino, KTN News.
And Water Resources Authority now says the county is currently experiencing flooding, will continue receiving substantial amounts of rains until December the 2nd, as the nationwide floods continue to cause havoc in the country. Many people have been displaced, while some have been forced to stay where they are since the infrastructure has been cut off after floods washed away roads barely 4 weeks after the El Nino rain began in Kenya. Husna Mohammed has more.
This place may pass as a river or a large water mass, but this area is actually covered by flood waters. The El Nino rains continue to cause havoc. Transportation is becoming a huge challenge. The floods are increasingly being witnessed in more areas throughout the country. As riverbanks break and wash away people, buildings and property, even crucial infrastructure such as roads that connect various cities in the country have not been spared. The properties are bleak in areas such as Garissa, Nairobi, Tana River, Mombasa, Malindi. This road is located in the middle of Mororo and Madogo area in Tana River County, a very important connection to various counties in the northern eastern part of Kenya. Due to the heavy rains witnessed, the Tana River has broken its banks and the water overflowed in this area. About 90 people have died from the floods so far, while more than 3,000 have been displaced. According to Red Cross, with essential products such as food and fuel running out, the transportation of goods has come to a halt in many places. Transportation between Malindi-Mombasa Highway was disrupted after the Bogolo Bridge that connects Mombasa to Kilifi near the Mavueni area was washed away by floods. The Kenya National Highways Authority (KENHA) last night repaired the bridge but asked users to be cautious. About 24 billion has been allocated to help Kenyans affected by the floods, while the Kenya Defence Forces (KDF) is expected to distribute aid in the most affected areas in the country. Husna Mohammed, KTN News, Nairobi.
Well, on to Mombasa Academia, where the Anglican Church of Kenya has called for speedy correction of anomalies reported in the recently released KCP examinations results. SK Archbishop Jackson Ole Sapit says that the number of complaints raised indicate that there were shortcomings in the process. The Archbishop was attending the retirement service of SK Nakuru Diocese Bishop Joseph Moshai, where he said that government entities must uphold ethics in service delivery. He cited a school which posted results of the candidate, all of whom scored the same marks in one of the subjects. He further took issue with a section of politicians engaging in blame game over the current state of the economy. Sapit urged the Ruto government to focus on improving the economy and not to dwell on the shortcomings.
Na ya maana na ya hakikisho kutoka kwa NEC kwamba hakuna dosari, na kama kuna jambo lolote imeenda kinyume, kuficha haitakuwa suluhisho. Why own up, wa take responsibility na waseme ya kwamba hapa kulikuwa na kosa na itarekebishwa namna hii ili Wakenya wawe na imani na taasisi kama za elimu na zingine katika taifa letu.
All right, we were expecting Milembe Omboko also to join us to just give a perspective of this matters as well as far as Kupet is concerned, and also discussing the JSS as well. We'll be doing that much later. But let's hear from Danson Mungatana. He's been in throes of the floods in Tana River, where we've seen the devastation of what has been happening in Makueni, Tana River, all over the country. Garissa, you saw some of the roads there have been completely raced down by the floods as well. He's just right from there. Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah,
give us the current state of play in the Tana River.
Yeah, like you have said, and what the news have reported, we have had a real serious impact on these floods. Our place is low-lying, so all the waters must come down through Tana River and then it reaches the sea. So big important roads like the one that connects Tana River to Garissa, they were cut off. In fact, Ken has said we can't go there. And also down the Malindi Road was also cut off, but we are told Kenha has made some repairs. But Tana River now, headquarters to Garissa, have been cut off at the area around Bilbil. So we have a humanitarian crisis. It is serious. We went there since Friday, and we have just been doing distribution of food. There's the support from the national government and the county government, but it is not enough. So all of us are pooling resources, and that's the appeal I'm making. That if you come from there, I don't need to explain to you. Just get your hands dirty, roll up your sleeve and do what you can. Like what I have been doing, because we don't have any form of budget, so we rely on the national and the county government, but we have been mobilizing friends, all personal resources to try and help, because now people have moved from their traditional areas. They have come near the roads, and at the roads, that's where Red Cross have come in to put up, tents and water facilities, and we are very grateful. But the food is not enough. So,
so I can see you on the ground here. You can tell us what was happening here on the ground.
Here I was with my wife, and we had come with food, which is in the background. So we were just doing the work that we've been called to do. Serving the people with the best possible way we can. And there are very, very many places. So if you're going to Tana River now, you will find areas where camps have been created, So I will urge people, you don't have to come to political leaders. You can come directly to Red Cross. You can go to the church leaders. You can go to leaders of mosques. They have systems in which they can distribute. And we are grateful that at least something has been said by the president. We've been told 2.4 billion has been allocated, and we hope released so that from Monday something starts happening. So we have also been told that the president is going to hold an emergency cabinet meeting, but it is serious. It is really, really serious. Our people are suffering, and Article 43 of the Constitution says every Kenyan is entitled to be free from hunger, to have clean water, to have housing, to have education. A lot of education facilities have gone underwater. A lot of hospitals and dispensaries, they have gone. Market areas, churches, homes, a lot of life has been disrupted. So I'm appealing for the humanitarian, aspect of it, but also we are asking the government to plan beyond this crisis. After the humanitarian crisis, we need proper resettlement of people. There are higher areas in Tana River County. So those areas we have to have budget to build them, to pump water, to build new school facilities, so that people can move completely from those areas that are down. We forget about them, we go to new settlements. I know, like our tribe, the Pokomo, they have been moving higher ground. Every time we have floods, they move to higher ground. And we have been told of stories of our forefathers who used to be on the other side of the river. Some places like Mwanawasa, they used to call it Ngaoya Kai, some very far area. So it was like every 10 years you have a lot of water coming down, so people would relocate to higher ground. But we've had also migration from other communities, and a lot of them are still in the lowlands where we used to live. So what I am appealing to President Ruto is to really sit down and have a proper plan. During the campaigns, we talked of a Marshall Plan. And this Marshall Plan would mean that we sit down and look at the whole area. What is it that we can do because it's not water deficient. The water is, like you can see, it's a lot of water. So what is it that we can do to tap this water and make use of it when it is dry season?
Indeed.
And those mega projects, they can work in Tana River. And I'm praying that the government will look at this, not in terms of, we are going to donate and go away, because the government is not Red Cross. I am appealing to the government to look at proper rehabilitation of the entire area, because the infrastructure is gone. is totally gone. And we need people to think long term, not just short term. Because our elders will tell you, every around 10 years, we have gharka, what we call gharka, you know, a lot of water coming down. So we need to plan ahead and see how can we tap these waters. And if we tap these waters, how can we utilize for massive irrigation, massive development in the area. So we need people who understand us and who can help us to grow.
Thank you.
That's the appeal I will make.
Thank you. So every 10 years, you've seen a pattern.
Yes.
That they will have this deluge, the
Yes.
floods will be there,
Yes.
but there's no proper planning in this 10 years. Okay. Let's hear from Dr. Bakali, because also we've seen one of the clergy there has also been affected by this, and Makueni also is adversely affected. Kitui Central, I don't know how you're faring. Briefly, you gave us just an indication of it. But we understand also the president is having a cabinet meeting to just address this issue. You think this is slow in coming? It should have happened earlier?
I think we've said it many times. And before I comment, maybe now that it's been announced that our colleague, Engineer Zambia, who is the MP for Colombia, which has lost her brother in the process, let me also take this opportunity to convey my sincere condolences to the family, among the others who have lost their lives. But as you said earlier, Dibao, you know, now we have an emergency in our hands. That's a fact. And we like it or not, as leaders, irrespective of our political affiliation, we have now to run around trying to see how we can help the situation, because the situation is there. The cabinet will be meeting. What I'm imagining is the meeting may result to some resources being set aside for these emergencies, but you need to bear in mind in our budgeting process, we have what we call the contingency fund at the national level, which is normally about 5 billion. At the county level, we have what we call the emergency fund, which is 5% of the equitable share. I'm sure that could be a starting point to address this challenge. But you know, generally, this country is facing serious liquidity challenges. That even without the money is in the budget, the actual cash to give out there so that people can do the work is not there. And that's why if you talk to any of my colleagues here, even in Parliament, people have stayed up for about 3 months without being paid some of the basic allowances. You travel, you come back, there's no money, you can't pass your per diems, no mileage allowance is not being paid. It's really a challenge. And what I would say is, just back to my earlier point, we were warned early enough. We should have done some basic things just to prepare, like putting our emergency team, which was put last, was it a Friday? When this team was constituted by the president. This team should have been there many months ago, just to start looking at, because like when I listen to my good friend Senator Mungatana make his points, you know, Tana River, it's obvious that when it rains, it will be flooded because all the water we have up here, we don't have big dams which would stop the water from flowing downwards. So the water coming from these hilly parts of the country, Mount Kenya and all the way, ends up in Mungatana's area. So flooding in Tana River is nothing new. It's a matter of to what extent, what level. So we knew with the El Nino rains, this time a lot of people will suffer. And that's why you see in an area like Kitui Central, because it's also hilly. We don't have flooding. In Kitui Central, normally the area is quite hilly. So we don't have a lot of flooding. So what is happening, our water is now flowing to the rivers. And actually those are some of the rivers causing problems at Mungatana's place. Because we have a river called Thua River, which is so big, which ends up feeding, I think, the river, and then all the way to the coast. So generally, this is a matter which requires to be discussed. I think now what is happening is we have this situation. What I would say is let's manage the situation now. With all this, you know, losing lives is not easy. But now, immediately after this rains now stop, we need now to sit down and say, what lessons have we learned as a country? So that as we move to the future, we'll never see again what is happening today. Because we need now to come up with very good strategies so that in future we know, in case El Nino comes back, with the lessons learned, we need to do 1, 2, 3. And with that, then we can minimize the loss of life. Because even you look at that gap, which is now on the screen, you can see, so everywhere is a big problem. Roads are cut. And normally, I see now the aftermath of all this is now diseases. Very soon, I don't know the Mungatana, maybe your people are going through it. Very soon, malaria will be very high. Don't be surprised to see diarrhea also now rates very high. So that brings another crisis now. People will not be dying or being washed away by rivers. They will now be dying because of the diseases.
Indeed.
And I see these countries like Red Cross has become like the Ministry of Health. Like most of the things, we leave them to Red Cross. We forget that Red Cross is actually not, even though they get some bit of funding from the government, it's not purely a government department. So the other questions, with the government department which are carrying this responsibility, because I'm sure we do allocate resources for such a department. What are they doing? Because these are the people who should be providing leadership in preparatory stages.
Indeed.
So that the country is prepared. So Libao is a major issue, but as I said earlier, we see as Kenyans who are going through this. And even in Nairobi, I'm telling you, some of the houses, anytime you travel here, you find even our own houses, you get up in the morning and you may not even be able to step through a compound because water is all over the place after the rains. Another indication of the drainage system all over the place. But I think we thank God that we are managing. And we wish well, we don't want to get to a situation where we are all amending. We want to bring solution to the table. So I think as leaders, anything we can be able to do to solve that matter. This is not a matter of Kenya Kwanza, no, it's a national disaster which needs to be addressed by all of us.
Indeed.
So we need to give our ideas.
All right.
Thank you.
We're due for a station break right now. It is a minute to 7 o'clock. And you're watching Standpoint. The El Nino also will be causing a surge of malaria rise in the country. That is what we have from the World Health Organization, not only just in the country, but the entire world. We need to be cognizant of that. That is what we are being warned. And there is a new species of mosquito around town as well. So we need to also keep our eyes peeled on that and have the remedial interventions also in place to curb this menace that we have. And as Mheshimiwa said, of course, when it comes with the floods, also the territory that will come with those floods is the rise of some of these diseases as well. We take a short break. When we circle back, we continue.